Go.
Hi, I'm Pastor Cassie Nault, and we have been busy over here at Atonement getting ready for returning to indoor worship. And this Sunday, October 11th, will be our first time together, so we thought it would be helpful to give you some tips for returning to worship. First of all, before you come to worship, make sure that you are thinking about how healthy you are. We don't want people coming to worship who are not healthy. And if there's anyone in your house that is sick, you don't need to come to worship. You can watch it online. We want to keep everyone as safe as possible, and we know that that means checking into some of these things. Like, make sure to take your fever, your temperature, make sure you don't have a fever. If you're having difficulty breathing, loss of taste or smell, muscle pain, any nausea, chills, cough, runny nose or congestion, sore throat, headache, fatigue, just stay home and stay well and watch us from the comfort of your home via the internet or on television, local television. And so if any of you in your family have these symptoms, just go ahead and stay home and we'll catch you the next time. So before we go into worship, there are some very important things we need to do. We need to put on our mask before we go in. Face coverings are required, and we want you to put it over your nose and your mouth. This is key because sometimes you might see people doing this and they look a bit like a garden gnome, right? But you put it up over your nose so it's covering, not like this, like this. So make sure it is covered. Can you still hear me, Marty?
Yep.
It's tough to hear when we have masks on, but that's okay. We use them for the whole of the worship service. All right, come on in. Before we go in any further, though, we need to stop, make sure we're 6 feet away from others, and there will be an attendant here taking down your name and phone number. You can register for worship beforehand, and that will speed up this process. So your name will get checked off, and then you'll proceed into the building. Come on in. Here is our greeting table, and I notice you're staying a proper distance away from me. We try to keep 6 feet, and you can see, Marty, if you want to pan down, that there are crosses marking the way. Yes. So here I am at the welcome table. You'll notice that there's hand sanitizer. If you don't have a mask, we will have some masks available for you to put on. And it tells you how to wear the mask, and I know you can get that just fine. We do want everyone to sanitize their hands on the way in so we can make sure that their hands will be clean, and as you touch other surfaces, we're not spreading any germs. Come on over this way. The first station is you can set any offering that you might be giving. That way it frees up your hands. And again, we're distanced away from our communion. Come over here and take a communion cup. You'll note that the cups will be properly spaced apart. Try only to touch the part of the communion tray that your cup is in. Continue on. We didn't have anyone to help us with this part, but on Sunday morning, there'll be an usher standing at this cross, handing out bulletins to you and welcoming you to service. Come on into the sanctuary. Now, just in case you sneezed or something on the way in and you want to sanitize your hands again, there is a spot to do that. But you'll note that all the doors are being propped open, so you don't have to pull or push anything or touch anything. So now, once you're in the worship space, there will be someone here, an usher or Pastor Marty or myself, who will guide you to a pew. Come on in, because I want you to see how this looks. Any of the pews that are marked off in this way are closed. And so we invite you to find another side of the pew to go to. And we have them marked off every other pew, and they're set up for mostly singles and doubles to sit together. However, there are some spaces where your whole household, if you have a family like mine of 5, you can all fit together. Households are welcome to sit with one another. Otherwise, we ask that you maintain a 6-foot or further distance from your nearest worshiping neighbor. As we go up to the front of our sanctuary, we see that it's a little different up here. The altar is moved a little bit further this way, and that is to ensure that there is enough space between Shannon, our worship leader, and Marty and I up front here. So all of these are spaced 12 feet apart, and that's so that when we are up here, we can take our masks off, because we've been instructed that 12 or more feet is what we would want for the worship leaders to be able to speak without a mask. That's far enough away to keep everyone safe. So I will be leading part of the worship from up here, and Marty will be here as well, and so will Shannon. But we won't be moving through the sanctuary as we so often do in our normal pre-COVID worship services. There won't be any communion handed out from up here. If you don't get a communion cup on your way in, you can flag down an usher, and they'll be happy to bring you the tray so that you can get a communion cup. The communion cup has a wafer on the top level and grape juice underneath. And when the time and service comes for that, I will give you instructions about how to partake in that. But you won't be moving up or back to your seat. You'll just remain seated. We will not be sharing a sign of peace or anything else. The worship service moves pretty quickly. It only takes about 30 or 40 minutes for us to get through the entire thing. And at the close of worship, we will dismiss you pew by pew from the back of the sanctuary up to the front, so that you're not running into each other on your way out. There won't be a traditional greeting line as we've had in the past. Instead, either Pastor Marty or I, whoever isn't up front leading the dismissal, will be outside of the church, making sure that you continue to move your way through the narthex quickly, because we don't want anybody to get bunched up there and be too close to one another. Remember that this isn't just about your own comfort level, but about the comfort level of others, and there might be some folks who are a little bit higher risk that attend our worship services, and they might not be as comfortable with being closer as some of us are. And so you are welcome to socialize in the parking lot. We do encourage use of masks and staying 6 feet or further apart. But if you do choose to have conversations, we ask that you move away from the front doors in order to clear the way for others to pass. This is all about caring for our neighbor, which we know that Jesus teaches us to do. And so we are grateful that we get to worship together here in this sanctuary, and we hope that you enjoy it as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Pastor Marty or myself or Dawn. We are glad to answer your questions. And the only thing that I forgot to mention is singing. Shannon will be singing from up front, from that proper 12-foot distance. We do